I know this isn't something most people want to hear, and trust me, it's not something I ever imagined saying out loud, but I've kept it hidden for too long, and I know there's other brothers out there who need to hear this. I'm 36 years old. I'm a Muslim, born and raised here in the UK, Indian background, still living with my parents, and I've been addicted to corn since I was 13. Yeah, not the food. You know what I'm talking about. It's mad to even admit that. But I'm saying it now because I know I'm not the only one. There's brothers out there who pray every day, who fast, who try to be on deen. But when it comes to this, when it comes to the filth online, they feel like they have lost the battle before it even begins. We don't talk about it. It's taboo. We'll talk about politics and cultural debates all day long. But this, we just pretend it doesn't exist. And because no one's talking, everyone thinks they're the only one drowning in it. I remember the first time I came across it. I was a kid, just browsing the internet on the old family computer in the sitting room. Back then, you didn't even have to look for it. One wrong click, and that was it. I didn't even know what I was looking at, but it triggered something in me. Curiosity, shame, excitement, guilt, all mixed into one. And then it began, quietly, slowly. One image here, one video there. Then I started looking for it, then hiding it, then planning around it. My school routine had it factored in. My weekends were built around it. I'd delete everything on Sunday night and tell myself that's the last time. Then by Tuesday, I was back on it again. You know how shaitan works, step by step. I wasn't just sinning, I was reshaping my brain, building a whole new habit. And the worst part, I didn't even realize I was getting addicted. I just kept telling myself, I'll stop eventually. I'll quit once I get older, once I'm married, once I have something real in my life. But that day never came, because it doesn't work like that. Here I am, 36, still not married, still living in the same house I grew up in, still fighting the same sin I picked up over 2 decades ago. My dear brothers and sisters, subhanallah, if you're hearing this, Allah has placed a yearning in your heart, a call to live a life where your deen shines bright, unburdened by the fitna of this dunya. Are you feeling that pull, that restlessness to find a righteous spouse in a land where your deen thrives? Or a parent yearning to raise your children speaking Arabic in Muslim Arab countries like Tunisia, Oman, Algeria or Saudi Arabia, where they are not only surrounded by the deen, but the Arabic language bringing the Quran's words to life. Or perhaps you're drawn to the Muslim lands of Asia like Indonesia or Malaysia to protect your faith. I wrote 5 practical steps to plan your hijrah, to guide you to a life rooted in the deen, inshallah. This ebook isn't just advice, it's a roadmap. Learn to purify your intention, choose a land that nurtures your soul, secure halal income, and prepare yourself and your family spiritually. Whether you seek a spouse, a safe home for your kids, or a place to preserve your deen, these steps are your guide. And like your brother in Islam, I'm sharing this wisdom with you as if we were doing it over a cup of mint green tea, my favorite. Don't let fear hold you back. Purchase 5 practical steps to plan your hijrah now by clicking the link below. Start your journey to a new life, inshallah. Act today. Your deen and family deserve it. What makes this sin different is how dirty it makes you feel afterwards. It's not like missing a prayer or saying something wrong to someone. This one, it lingers. You can't just brush it off. It stays with you. It eats away at your self-worth. I remember the countless nights I prayed. I'd delete all the files, close all the tabs, scrub the search history like I was trying to erase it from existence. I'd cry in sujood. I'd beg Allah to forgive me. And deep down, I'd think this is it. This is the last time. But it never was. I'd last a few days, sometimes a week, maybe 2. Then I'd slip again. And when I slipped, it felt even worse than before. Like I betrayed Allah twice, like I broke a promise I made while my forehead was on the prayer mat. I tried everything. Cold showers, fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, getting rid of my smartphone, installing blockers, giving my phone to a mate for safekeeping. I even stopped going to the gym because I thought maybe seeing all that skin was triggering me. And yeah, some of those things helped, but only short term. Nothing really fixed the core of it. Because this thing isn't just about desire, it's deeper than that. It's about loneliness, it's about boredom, it's about pain, it's about trying to fill a void you don't know how to fill properly. I'd ask Allah why I'm still struggling with this. Why does it feel like I'm fighting a war no one else around me is fighting? But the truth is, they probably are. They're just not saying anything either. The thing is, lust itself isn't haram. It's how you channel it. Allah gave us desire for a reason. It's not shameful to want connection. What's shameful is the way we've twisted that need into something fake and filthy and addictive. And that's exactly the issue with this sin. Once you go near it, it's over. You think, I'm just browsing, or it's not that bad. Then boom, you're deep in again. It starts with curiosity, ends in regret. Over and over again, there's this cycle that forms. You fall into it. You hate yourself. You promise to stop. You try hard for a while. Then you get tired. You get stressed. You fall again. Then the self-hate hits even harder. And when you're stuck in that cycle long enough, you start believing that maybe this is who you are. Maybe you're just broken. Maybe you'll never be free from it. And that's the real danger. Not the videos themselves. Not even the sin. It's the despair that comes after. The feeling that you're too far gone. That Allah's mercy doesn't cover people like you. That's where shaitan wins. The amount of times I told myself, I'll fix this once I'm married. Let me tell you something. Marriage isn't a magic cure. I've met brothers who are married and still addicted, still hiding it from their wives, still crying after prayer because they can't stop. Because this sin doesn't come from a lack of intimacy. It comes from a lack of discipline, a lack of coping mechanisms, a lack of connection with people, with purpose, and with Allah. So no, marriage won't fix you if you haven't already started fixing your heart. And that's what I've been learning the hard way. This sin doesn't define me. It's a part of my story, yeah, but it's not the end of it. And if you're watching this and you're in the same place I've been, just know you're not alone. And it's not hopeless. There's a way out, but it starts with being real, not with others, with yourself, with Allah. That's where healing begins. It's strange, isn't it? You start something thinking it's just a phase, a little escape, something you'll grow out of. But years pass, and one day you realize you've built yourself a prison, one brick at a time. That's what it felt like for me. I never planned to live like this. Never thought I'd be in my 30s, stuck in the same cycle, still hiding things from my family, from my mates, from myself. But when you keep feeding a sin like this, it doesn't just stay on your screen, it spreads into everything. Your mind, your habits, your relationships, even your connection with Allah. And the worst part, it's all invisible. People look at you and think, he's doing all right. They see you in the mosque at Friday prayer, nodding along to the talk. They don't see the browser history. They don't see the guilt that follows you into every prayer. I remember this one Ramadan. I was around 26, trying to make it my turning point. You know what I mean. Every year we tell ourselves this is the one where I change, where I finally fix up. I had my Quran app ready, deleted all the socials, even gave my phone to my cousin for a bit. First week, I was flying, praying on time, reading regularly, making effort. Then one night I couldn't sleep. The thoughts started coming. I opened the laptop, just for a look. Back to square one. I remember lying in bed afterwards, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a complete hypocrite. Like, what's the point of fasting if I'm doing this at night? What's the point of praying, reading Quran, if I'm filling my heart with filth behind closed doors? And you know what that mindset leads to? Giving up. You start thinking, well, I've already messed up, might as well just carry on. You delay turning back. You convince yourself that Allah's not going to forgive you until you've been clean for a certain number of days or weeks or whatever imaginary rule you made up in your head. That's the trap. You feel like a fraud for wanting to change while you're still falling. But the truth is, change happens during the struggle, not after it. I used to be terrified of telling anyone. I thought if anyone found out, they'd never look at me the same. And maybe that's true. People are harsh sometimes. We're quick to judge and slow to understand. But Allah, He doesn't work like that. Subhanallah, if people knew how many times I broke down in regret only to fall again, they'd probably think I was a joke. But I swear, every time I turned back to Allah, I felt something soften inside me, even if I failed again later. Just that act of coming back again and again is what stopped my heart from dying completely. What kept me stuck was the silence, the fake life I built around me. I'd walk into the kitchen in the morning, give my mom a smile, sit down for breakfast like everything's normal, when just a few hours ago I was watching something disgusting. It eats you up. You can't be present. You can't truly love. You can't build anything real. You're constantly wearing a mask, and that mask makes you feel alone, even when you're surrounded by people. There was a time I tried opening up to one of the older brothers at the mosque. Not fully, but I gave him hints. Told him I was struggling with online stuff. He just said, "You need to fear Allah more," and moved on. That crushed me. I already knew I was doing wrong. What I needed was someone to actually guide me, not just slap me with guilt. So I stopped asking. For a long time, I believed I was just weak, that maybe I wasn't one of the chosen ones, that some people are just meant to be good and the rest of us, we're just struggling until the end of the dunya. But that's a lie, a dangerous one. Allah didn't create anyone just to fail. He's not sitting there waiting to catch you sinning so he can punish you. That's not who he is. He's the one who said, "Don't ever give up on my mercy. Even if your sins are stacked to the sky, if you come to him sincerely, he forgives." Full stop. It took me years to actually believe that, because when you're addicted, you don't just lose control, you lose self-worth. You stop thinking you're even worthy of change, but you are. Because Allah said you are. That's when I started trying something different, nothing dramatic, just small shifts. Like making a proper effort to get up and wash when I felt the urge, getting out of the house, memorizing even one short reminder, replacing the thought of pleasure with the thought of accountability. I tried to speak to Allah through my prayers, but sometimes there weren't even words, just tears. Subhanallah, those moments, they were real, more real than any speech I've ever heard, more healing than any advice I'd been given. That sin nearly destroyed me. But it also dragged me to my knees in front of Allah in a way nothing else ever could. Sometimes that's how change starts, not with some big lecture, but with one broken man whispering to Allah in the dark, trying to find his way out. So if you feel like you've built a prison around yourself, just know, you didn't throw away the key. You've still got it. Inshallah, you'll use it. Salamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. Want to strengthen our ummah and support this channel? Become a channel member today, inshallah. Your membership fuels my mission to build a vibrant Muslim community, sharing stories and knowledge that we can all learn from. Your generosity reflects the nature of charity we Muslims have in our hearts, alhamdulillah. Choose a tier and enjoy exclusive perks like members-only videos and special shout-outs. Together, let's grow this blessed community. Click join now and be part of something special. You know what I never realized? How much of my actual life I was losing while I was stuck in this habit. It wasn't just the guilt or the secret, it was the time, the energy, the missed chances to connect with people properly, the way my soul felt dull. You'd think it was just a private problem, something that stayed behind the screen, but it spilled out into everything. I remember one day my little nephew came over, just 7 years old, full of energy, running around, making noise, laughing at everything. He ran up to me with his toy car and was like, "Uncle Imran, play with me." I looked at him, and I just didn't have it in me. I smiled, said I was tired, told him to go play in the other room. But the truth? I had just spent 2 hours the night before binging that stuff. I barely slept. My head was foggy. I felt disconnected from everything around me. That's what it does to you. It numbs your heart, makes you feel hollow, like you're just existing, not really living. You don't even realize it until you start losing touch with things that used to matter. Family gatherings become effort. Eye contact feels too much. Motivation for work, for studies, for marriage, for even brushing your teeth. It all drops. And you start filling that hole with more of the same filth, hoping it will make you feel something again. It's like you're stuck in a loop. Sin, shame, fake escape, repeat. You try to be normal. You sit at the dinner table, nod along to conversations, pretend everything's all right. But deep down, your heart feels far, far from the people you love, far from yourself, and far from Allah. Subhanallah, I remember a time when I couldn't even make eye contact with my dad properly. Not because he knew anything, but because I knew. I dishonored everything he tried to teach me, his sacrifices, his reminders, his prayers, and I just sat there nodding, lying through silence. That's when I started thinking, if I ever got married, what kind of husband would I be? How could I give love when I didn't even feel clean inside? It wasn't just about me anymore. This thing poisons your future. It affects your expectations, your patience, your ability to build something real. The scary part? No one ever talks about that. You hear talks about modesty, marriage, guarding your gaze, but who's really breaking down what this stuff does to your brain, your soul, your view of women, your ability to feel anything deeper than quick pleasure? The dunya sells lust like it's freedom, but for most of us, it's slavery. You think you're choosing it, but it's dragging you by the neck. And when you've had enough, when you finally won out, that's when the real war starts. Because now your brain's wired to chase dopamine. You're restless, empty. You open your phone out of habit. You scroll even when you're not interested. You search for something to fill the silence. And in that moment, you either fall back into the same pit or you push through the pain and do something different. That's where I started seeing the battle clearly. It wasn't just about resisting the screen. It was about replacing the addiction with life. I had to start living again. I went for walks without headphones. I deleted the apps that made me feel weak. I made a proper habit of praying early, not just on time. And I started actually being present when my mom spoke to me. You'd be surprised how healing that is. Just listening, just being there. One night, I was sitting on the floor near her feet. She was telling me a story about her childhood back home, something about the floods, and how her dad built a boat from scrap wood just to get them to school. And I felt it, man. This warmth, this connection, something I hadn't felt in years. I thought to myself, this is what I was missing all this time. That simple, real presence. No buzz, no fantasy, just peace. Subhanallah, I almost forgot it was possible. And yeah, I still had urges, still had slips. But now there was a reason to fight. A reason beyond guilt and fear. A reason rooted in hope. I wasn't just avoiding a sin. I was chasing something better. And for the first time in a long time, I started believing that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't doomed. That Allah still had something good written for me. That I wasn't too far gone. That I could heal. And if I could, maybe others could too. So to anyone listening who's knee deep in it, thinking you'll never feel normal again, I see you. And I swear by Allah, you're not broken beyond repair. You just need to start coming back to life. Inshallah, one small step at a time. It's been a while since I started my nofap journey. Sometimes I sit back and think about who I used to be, and it's strange. It feels like I'm remembering someone else entirely, a version of myself that I can picture clearly, but no longer feel connected to. But I'll be honest with you, the urge never fully disappears. It's not like one day you just wake up and you're healed. It's more like the dunya keeps testing you, trying to find cracks. One careless scroll, one late night, one low moment, and the same whispers return. That's why I don't call myself recovered. I'm recovering, still, every single day. But subhanallah, I'm not where I used to be. That alone is enough to bring me to tears sometimes. I no longer live with guilt eating away at my insides. I don't avoid my own reflection. I don't feel fake when I raise my hands in prayer. I speak to Allah with honesty now, not because I've reached some perfect level of faith, but because I've stopped hiding from Him. When I ask Him to protect me now, I really mean it. And when I thank Him, I know exactly what I'm thanking Him for. Maybe people around me noticed I changed. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just thought I got older, calmed down, matured. But the real transformation happened where no one could see it. Inside. In the way I think. In the way I feel, in the way I carry myself when no one's around. I started looking ahead, not in terms of career or money or marriage, but in terms of who I want to be in the long run. The kind of man who is consistent, the kind of son who deserves the prayers his mom whispers when she thinks he can't hear, the kind of father I hope to be someday, inshallah. It wasn't some massive, dramatic change. It was small things, praying slowly instead of rushing, opening the Quran, even if just for a page, sitting with silence instead of drowning in noise, listening to the birds at Fajr instead of scrolling through nonsense. That silence is powerful. It reminds you of what the dunya makes you forget. that you're here for a reason, that you're a servant, that you're still being given chances. I still fall short. I still have days when I feel like I'm slipping, but I catch myself quicker now. I forgive myself faster too. I remind myself that this is a lifelong fight and that the goal isn't perfection. It's returning, it's trying, it's not giving up. Through all of this, the one truth that keeps me grounded is knowing that Allah never left me. Even when I was deep in filth, even when I hated who I was, even when I thought I didn't deserve another chance, He was still there, patient, kind, guiding me back. Subhanallah, who else would do that for you? Who else would see every failure, every dark thought, every hidden act, and still want you to return? No one, just Allah. So if you're reading this and any of it sounds familiar, don't wait until you feel worthy to speak to Him. Speak to Him now, in the middle of it, in the mess, in the failure. That's where change begins. Not when you're clean, but when you're real. Inshallah, we'll all make it back. Not perfectly, not painlessly, but sincerely, and that's enough. Alright mates, I've just finished reading Imran's story, and subhanallah, it really hit deep. This wasn't some dramatic tale with a neat ending. This was raw, honest, the kind of struggle most brothers are too shy or too ashamed to speak about. What stood out to me wasn't just the addiction itself, but how lonely the battle was. A silent war, behind closed doors, with barely anyone noticing. Yet still, through all of it, Imran kept reaching for something better, kept turning back to Allah, and that's where the light crept in. Reading his story reminded me of something many of us overlook, that sometimes a change of scenery might just give you the space to breathe. Making hijrah, moving away from the distractions, the constant noise, the easy access to sin. It's not a cure-all, but for a brother like Imran, it could be the reset he needs. A chance to build better routines, seek better company, and be in a place where Allah is remembered more than forgotten. It's not about escaping your problems. Hijrah doesn't magically delete your past, but it can help you fight. It can give you the tools. It can give you the stillness. And for some of us, that might be exactly what we've been missing. If Imran's story sounds even a little bit like your own, if you've been stuck in that loop, making progress only to fall again, maybe it's time to consider a real move. A move for your deen, a move for your sanity, a move for Allah. And if that thought has ever crossed your mind, don't let it fade. I've put together something practical that might help you take that feeling and turn it into real action. 5 practical steps to plan your hijrah. A Muslim's guide to a faithful new start. Grab your copy below and start laying the foundation for change. Let's stop daydreaming about hijrah and start planning it. Drop a comment if this story hit home for you. Have you made your hijrah yet? Or are you still wrestling with it? Let's talk. More stories coming soon, inshallah.